like, I think a lot of like, like, you know, regular narratives, there's like a moment of realization. I don't think there was like a moment of realization. I think, obviously I don't know what other families are like, but my parents are very like, we don't talk about things.
Oh, really?
So they don't like, they don't want to know anything. I don't have to tell them anything. And I think, so like some of my friends who were white, I don't know if that makes a difference, probably does, like they would be very uncomfortable because their like parents would be trying to talk to them about like boys and whatever, and I was like,
whole like talk.
yes, unbelievable, because like my mum has actually never spoken to me, but neither of my parents have ever spoken to me about anything related to this.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't like have other sources of information, I would like still think that people came from like this guy.
Yeah.
So, it was never really something that I had to think about until I actively wanted to, I guess. I think, so my sister is like my world. I don't like her.
You don't?
I don't. She used to be a massive figure in many ways. She's better now. Hope she never sees this. And I remember, I think I was in a museum in some place. We were like on holiday. I think it was in China. And she was like, I think I was like 12 or something. She was like 14. And she was like talking about, just like being randomly homophobic. And she was like, oh, like, are you a lesbian? And I was like, yeah, I've never thought about this movie now.
How old were you?
I was like 12.
You're 12.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, well, I was like, yeah, she was like, just going on about how like being gay is like bad or whatever. And she's like, oh, you're lesbian, and I was like, well, I've never actually thought about this. That was also like a very like awkward and like unattractive child. I definitely was.
I think everyone goes through that. I really don't.
Yeah, I didn't have like any kind of, I didn't have any like previous like heterosexual like during a time when I like wasn't aware. I just like didn't do anything. So like at the older age of like 16 or 17, by that time I had quite a lot of friends. I went to school as well, and there's quite a lot of people who were like lesbians or like bi or trans. So there was always a possibility.
Sure.
It wasn't something I was like massively like angsty about.
Yeah.
And
Having
then
people around you sort of like
Yeah.
made you feel more comfortable, maybe?
yeah, it's like you can be, you know that you can be that, even if you haven't like thought about it.
Yeah.
So I think I have like an uncommonly like fine journey to slow, normal realization.
Yeah.
I know, I think like for a while I was like, maybe I'm bisexual. Just cause like, I don't know, it's very like hypothetical because I like hadn't done anything. But I think over the past like, actually like probably like 3 months, because I do think there is like a tendency that to, like all super like queer women and like don't like super lesbians. I remember back in the day when I was like 14 and like pretending to be 19 on a uniform, I would be like, I'm bisexual. That's cool. Which is also gross.
I feel like glamorized a little bit. Like.
Yeah, it's like also gross.
Yeah.
That was bad for me. But yeah, I think with past few months, and also like knowing more people who are lesbians, especially I think like at university in the past like couple of years, I've become friends with like this lesbian people who are like, their love is so true. It like, I think like, because there are so few examples that you see in like life or in media of like just a genuine like couple who like love each other. It is hard to believe that it's possible for like women to love each other like enough without like ever seeing it. So I'm friends with these people and they're great. They're lesbians, they're in love, and I'm like, well, I do believe in lesbian love after all. Yeah. So that is, yeah. So I think like just knowing more
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like obviously I'm still not like sure, but I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
Like if it turns out that I'm wrong, I'm actually
Like there's no like pressure to
yeah.
like figure out like even though you feel like
It's like
the way you are.
yeah, like you describe yourself to the best of your ability how you know yourself now. Like if that changes, then it's like shit.
So like, did you come out at all to your parents? Did you know at all?
Well, like again, like why do like no one talk to them? Just don't talk to them about anything like deep. So they just want to talk to me about like my studies. So like that wasn't like I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to come out to their parents to stop like certain lines of questioning or like try and like set them up with like men or whatever. Like, but obviously my parents like didn't talk about that. So I think like yeah. I think the first time I actually told my mom was because I was going. This is quite funny. My mom's very strange. I was going to my friend's house for New Year's. I think I was like 17. And this friend, my mum thought was a lesbian. He's like a trans guy, but my mum thought that he was a lesbian. So like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go over, and she was like, cool. And then as I was like about to leave, she was like, are you sure you want to stay in there? Sure you want to stay in there? Are you gonna be sitting in the same room? And I was like, yeah, I know, like it's very obvious what you're getting at. And I was like, oh, okay, like I'm already like not heterosexual. It's fine. I left. And then she was like, and I left. And then she never mentioned it again.
Right.
Until the next time when I think I was going to a gig with this same friend. And like a few months before, I'd been like going to this gig with my friend. She was like, yeah, absolutely fine, you might go chill. Like 2 weeks before the gig, I'm like in the car, she's like driving me to school. And she was like, are you sure you want to go to this gig with this person? Are you staying overnight? I'm like, yeah, it's in London, we live in Manchester. She's like, are you sure? And I was like, no mum, it's fine, you know, I am non-straight. And she was like, it's because you went to a girls' school. Is that why you want to do HSPS and not science? And I was like, no, it's fine. And then like we like got to school and I like got off the car and she like didn't mention it. Next time was it's quite long. Cut me off if it's like too long.
No, honestly, long.
Cool. I think the next time was I think the next time was when I wanted to cut my hair. And my mum used to have like really short hair.
Yeah.
And now she's like great out, but like whatever. And then I was like, Mum, I'm gonna like cut my hair, you know, I'm young, it's time to experiment. She was like, yeah, absolutely fine, like great, whatever. Obviously, like, okay, so this is like just before I went to university. And I used to buy a laptop because I didn't have one. So we like went to the Trafford Centre. Yeah. It's like big, yeah, you know what
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. To go and buy a laptop. And then we see my friend, who my mum thinks is lesbian, who has cut his hair to be short.
The one your mum thinks is a lesbian.
Yeah.
That's a trans guy.
Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah. Okay.
So my mum thinks that because he's a lesbian, and he's like cut his hair short since the last time that she saw him.
Yeah.
So we like see them, like him and his friend. We see them like in Trafford Centre because his friend is like working this week as well. We like chat a bit, whatever. And then we like go to the afternoon. It was like something. This is like the last time. My grandma was watching a program on the Chinese TV. Because you get Chinese TV programs because they like do speak English and they live at home. About like she was like being racist. This like program was about like women's like gender inequality in like South Asia. Yeah. So I was like in this room and I was like, yeah, okay with it. Like my grandma just like turns around to me and she's like, don't marry like a black South Asian man. And I was like, Grandma, this is racist. Like you are being racist. And then, obviously like she doesn't speak English. My Chinese isn't like good. I was like trying to argue with her, but not very well. And I was like, this is racist. Like you know, like yeah. And she was like, oh no, it's about cultural difference. I was like, Grandma, like you are from China. You live in the UK now. Like you moved your whole family here. You cannot talk about cultural difference. Like there is this big cultural difference between like me and like a white person. But I can't really say this. And I had to, like, my mum's also there, so I kept having to like ask her to like translate things to me. But eventually she was like, well, stop arguing. And I was like, my grandma said she's being racist. She was like, no. You know, and I was like, okay, mom, like, you're also a racist, I guess. And then like later on, we like went for a walk to like the supermarket. And then I was like, mom, like, do you acknowledge that she is being racist? Give me like shady looks. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm not going to marry a man anyway. And she was like, do you think you will change your mind? I was like, probably not. And she was like, oh, well. But it's like, it's fine because it's like not present. Like if I actually like have a girlfriend, I don't know how that would be. But I think she's like too like emotionally repressed to like some things. So yeah.
Yeah. But it's like a hostile.
It's like a bit awkward, but I also like don't really care about her or my dad's opinions about it because I like don't. I just think I'm all and like I don't know. I think also like my parents are very like emotionally like whatever. They like always like very very intend that like their children will like do well in life, and they like always support us like financially. And like try to give us like the best opportunities, best education possible. So like even if like this became like a big, it's not something that they would like you know like actually like materially impact my life over because like they literally just would do that. So
that's good to know then. I understand that like always going to be Okay, final question. It's like a big one. Like, what does your identity mean to you?
Like, what do you have in mind? Like,
so you identify them with labels, or like how people live their everyday life, or if like with your parents, sort of like you have more in yourself, like sort of react to some people, your parents, I'm not really doing that very well.
but I don't know, I think it's like my parents don't really know anything about my life. Like I don't know my friends, they've like never met them. Like I don't really talk to them about things. It's just like it's like more of understanding, I guess. I don't know. So like it's not. I don't really have to like have like meetings with myself. I just like don't ever talk to them about that stuff. In terms of like what it means to me and like other, I guess like I'm very particularly active and like see us speaking. Pretty bad. I love the echo chamber. All of my friends are gay. I think when I got to university, like in first year, like the first story I told like a group of my new fellow students was like about like being Chinese and like being American, because I was like, you know, it's just things that we all need to know if we're gonna have an understanding. I think it's like obviously it's like very lucky in that sense to like be in an environment that where like the majority of people will like embrace that, or like you can like find enough people who are like similar or like have the same universe. So I think like I spend quite a lot of time like now, you know, with the online LGBT discourse. I'm actually doing my dissertation.
Oh really?
It's discourse.
Oh wow.
So that's an interesting one. So I think it's like quite, like I would say it's like really important to me in like a sense that it's like I guess I don't really know. Like I'm lucky that it can be like quite a big part of my life without it being a big deal. Like it's just like very normal. But I guess when I like leave the like university environment, I have to go do something else, like somewhere else.
You won't necessarily be in such an environment every day.
It'll like become more important. Or like if I just like meet, like if I have to spend time like more straight people, like maybe it'll be more of a problem. But at the moment, I just don't. So I guess it's like kind of important. It's important in that sense, but I guess I had to experience like the conflict.
Yeah.
That I guess would make it like more like. So yeah.
Have you dealt with like any sort of conflict, like any situations like specifically lesbian representation, like any sort of things like coming up, like
Like not in a major way, not in a major way, like so I heard some people have just bad opinions about like things that are often like sometimes like antagonistic towards lesbians or like about half the course in the LGBT discourse. I think I don't know, there are like definitely like some groups of friends that it's like a bit, that it's like less natural to do than others. Like I like make most of my friends do like physical activities or like just in my course, which is like sociology, so everyone's they're like I also do like theatre, so surprisingly most people in theatre are straight. I like went on a tour with like some of them and like that's like it's like different. It's like a bit more weird. Like no one's like actually bad. It's just like a bit more like of a thing.
like sort of notice the difference between straight people and
yeah. It's just more of like a thing to be said or spoken about than in my daily life. So, I don't know. I think like lesbian feminism is like a good. I don't know, over the past few months of discourse, introduced to many new approaches of analysing LGBT discourse, and I think like a lot of like the ones that approach it from like like a feminist perspective are ones that I find like how I see like the world and where it's. So I guess like also I guess. But yeah, I'm very into because I think it's like the thing that like queer women do. I actually did a show. There was a devised theatre show. It's not as pretentious as it sounds. At the end of last term, it was called Cambridge Companion to Lesbianism, and it was about like lesbian history in Britain.
Wait, is this a book or?
No, it was like a student. The students like found like historical sources, information about like the history of like lesbianism in Britain, and then like made like a play that was like mostly like monologues or like interview pieces or like from and then like cast like lesbian or bi like queer women. So like the whole cast and like was like
That's so cool.
and then we did that show and that was good. That was a good time.
Was that like a good response to it as well?
Yeah, I think there was like this group of women, like this like group of like quite like older, I guess like more like middle-aged, like older women who like came from like quite far away. Like I think like from like Brighton to like come and see it. So that was like from like Brighton or something in Cambridge. So it was in Cambridge, so like came to like come and see it. Like as a group. So that was like really cool because it was like not only was it like just like like students in the university, but like actually like people who like had been present for like some of the history that was like in the show as well. So that was very cool.
Okay, cool.
Great.
So when did you first realise that you were lesbian?
So it's really funny because it sort of happened in almost two parts for me, which was when I was 10 and I first sort of became cognizant that there were people out there who like, weren't heterosexual and who liked, women who liked women. I was about 10 probably, and I had never had a crush on a girl or anything like that, but I just sort of had an instinctual feeling that like I belonged with those people, and so I talked to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I think I'm a lesbian, and my mom says, honey, I think you're too young to realize, and then I'm kind of like, oh, okay. But then also previous to that, I had friends who had two moms. I remember very distinctly walking up to my mom when I was maybe 4 years old and I said, Mom, if Dad dies, will you marry another woman so that I can have two moms? So that just sort of like to me is evidence that like I'd kind of internalized that and normalized it and just been like, that's totally normal. It's like, you know, the way that people are, without realizing like, no, that's just the way you are, not necessarily everybody. But then after that, after my mom had sort of said, you know, like, honey, like, you're probably too young to know at the age of 10, like, especially if you haven't had a crush on a girl, like, maybe think about it more. I, like, sort of went into, like, you know, questioning, like, you know, what is my attraction like? Like, who am I attracted to? And then sort of went through a bunch of stages, like, I'm straight, I'm bi, I'm ace, like, not sure, I don't know. And then realized when I was 17 that I'd fallen really, really in love with my best friend. It was like, guess I'm a lesbian. And I'm 17 and I can't believe I haven't figured this out before, especially because I'd had a lot of crushes before that in retrospect were definitely crushes. I was like, how did I not realize this? But yeah, so I was 17 and that is how I realized that, was sort of through this sort of convoluted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then did you like come out again to your mom?
Yeah, I came out to her, I think I realized it in February, and I came out to her in May after I'd sort of like gotten really sure, like, this is definitely a thing. And I came out to her, and I remember I was in the car, and there like, my mom is a very, very progressive person. There was no reason for me to be scared, but it's still kind of hard to say the words.
Yeah, I get that.
And so I was sitting in the car, and I was coming out of her car and getting into my car. And as I'm getting out of her car, I just lean and I'm like, because we've been joking about like lesbians before graduation and they are lesbians until graduation and like gay for the stay. And I like just look at my mom and I'm like, I'm gay, not for the stay, and then ran away and like got in my car. And then she texted me and is like, you know, I love you, like, you know, I would never ever, nothing about that would ever change. Like, you know, just it's sort of the standard thing that parents who are very accepting say. Which was sort of that, and then I waited a really long time before telling my dad because I felt a lot more comfortable around my mom.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then sort of since that, it's sort of been like, does it come up in casual conversation, especially if I'm talking about like my girlfriend or something like that. Sometimes I'm a little bit more cautious around professors because it's like, if they find out and they happen to be like some sort of homophobe, like, is that going to affect like my performance in the class? Like, I don't really want to take that risk necessarily, even though I know that the chance is very remote, just because even if there is like a tiny chance, I just don't really want to take that. But then after the class is over, I feel totally comfortable usually talking about professors and saying, oh, you know, my girlfriend. I mean, not with a lot of people, I won't go like, you know, just walk up and say, hi, my name's Abby, I'm a lesbian, just shake their hand like that. But
if it comes up in conversation.
Yeah, if it comes up in conversation, definitely, and people are talking about their significant others or asking about my significant other and saying, oh, you know, do you have a boyfriend? No, I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
The one sort of big person in my life I haven't come out to actually is my host mom from the year that I spent abroad in France when I was in high school, when I was 16. And I've sort of had a lot of trouble sort of just bringing that up, especially because it hasn't come up in casual conversation. She's never been like, oh, do you have a boyfriend? She's just like, I don't know if she knows and that's why she doesn't ask, or if she kind of like has a feeling or something, because, you know, we've kind of talked about like, she's like, never date men, like men are terrible. Right, the question was about erasure, heteronormativity. I mean, I often do get a lot, especially because I have been taking a couple language classes while in my life I've taken a couple language classes, and you always get to that point where you're learning the words for boyfriend and girlfriend, and the professor says, you know, looks at the girls and says, oh, do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
And you're like, no. And then, you know, I've never had a professor go, oh, then do you have a girlfriend? Which I feel like, you know, I don't really begrudge them that, but I feel kind of like it's so simple to be like, oh, you don't? Do you have a girlfriend? Like, you know, it's just like not that difficult, but I think it still doesn't occur to a lot of people, which to me is a little bit weird because that's sort of like the default in my mind, and that's always what I'm thinking about. And like, you know, like whenever I conceptualize my relationship and like having a romantic relationship with somebody, it's always with a woman. So it's really just kind of weird for somebody to, and weird and alienating, and it feels like they're not even talking to me sometimes because I'm just like, that's not me. Who'd have a boyfriend that I would never. Man. So there's that, and that's always interesting in a language learning environment to sort of have to,
Yeah.
especially if, you know, they say, oh, tell me in Hebrew or in Mandarin about your boyfriend, and I'm like, don't have one, but I don't know how to say, but I have a girlfriend, because of the language barrier and everything. So it's always kind of interesting and a little bit funny, but it's also a little bit disheartening because it's like, come on, you know, it's 2018.
Yeah. So you don't really feel like you express that to professors when they're sort of saying that?
usually
You feel a bit
don't.
too... Yeah.
I usually don't. I feel like it just I'm afraid of turning it into a political issue. Well, maybe not even a political issue, but I'm just afraid of making it into a big deal.
Yeah.
And bringing up things that like aren't necessarily going to like bring the discussion forward or like, you know, have anything to do with what's happening in the classroom right now. Because I'm there to learn most of all. And I'm just kind of like, is it worth it? Not really.
Yeah.
Like maybe if we're in like a gender, you know, politics class or something like that, I'd definitely be like, excuse you. But at least in a language class, I just kind of brush it off.
Yeah.
In other situations, not necessarily as much, especially because a lot of my friends are also LGBT, whether you know, they're other lesbians or bi women or something like that. So they're just, and then from that, a lot of their family are aware that, you know, like, oh, like my daughter's friend here, like, you know, my daughter is gay and my daughter's friend is also gay, and so they've just like, I'm always interacting with people who've kind of like, at least in my personal life, I usually interact with people who sort of have reached that like at least a slightly higher level of awareness that people out there are, you know, are gay. Like it's like that being like, people are gay, Steven. Like I feel like they've sort of like gone beyond at least that step, and are at least in sort of in a space where they instead of saying, oh, do you have a boyfriend, they'll say, oh, do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? You're like, I know you tacked that on there, but thank you.
Did you ever feel that from like other family members who like aren't your parents?
My grandma has still just kind of been like, I think she secretly is like, she's going to be with a man one day. Like,
really?
Of course she'll be with a man.
Yeah.
That's my dad's mom. I think that my mom's mom is just kind of like, do whatever you want, kid. Like she. It's interesting because I feel like, at least my dad's mom is sort of living vicariously through me in a lot of ways. But then my mom's mom just sort of has her own life and is, you know, living her own life and doesn't really care. But like I mean, I don't really have that many interactions with my extended family, so there's less sort of, you know, meeting a relative who I haven't spoken to in 15 years who says, oh, you know, you've grown up so much, like, have you got a man? Or something like that. There's less of that I think there are for a lot of people. But I haven't really experienced talking to family members and just, you know, meeting a family member I haven't seen in years who goes, oh, you know, do you have a boyfriend? Like, when are you getting married? Like, when are you going to start popping out babies? Like, I feel like that might come at some point, but at least in my 20s, still in university and everything like that, I haven't encountered that really yet, and I don't go to family reunions all the time. So
is there a reason for that?
Well, mostly that I just don't live in an area of the country that, you know, right now I live here, and I don't live, normally I live in Chicago, which is still 2 days drive from where the rest of my family lives, so it's just kind of like, I'm sort of living my own life there, and they're all living their own life there, and and then also, thankfully, thank God that Facebook exists, because I just have my relationship status on there that just says, you know, so unless somebody's being willfully ignorant and doesn't have a Facebook, they just kind of know. And either they'll be really sweet about it and say, oh, you have a girlfriend, like, how's your girlfriend, you know, how's she doing, like, does she ever want to come to one of these dinners with us, or does she ever, you know, I'd like to meet her, that kind of thing, or they just won't mention it. So, and that way Facebook is kind of a godsend, because you don't have to say it, you can just put it there, and people can see it, and you don't have to talk about it unless they're being really sweet about it.
And in a way, like, having a relationship to express that is easier than like coming out like randomly being like, oh,
and they're like, how do you know? Like, because I do.
And also, like, do you sort of feel a lot of pressure, not a lot of pressure, a lot of attention on your identity as a lesbian, or do you view it's just sort of like a facet of you?
I mean, it definitely depends sort of on who I'm interacting with, what I'm doing, you know, sort of the activity that I'm engaging in, because in an academic space it's definitely less so, unless I took a class on gender sort of history and the history of conceptualizations of gender and everything like that, and obviously in that class I would talk a lot about my identity, especially because a lot of people in that were straight women, and I'd be like, sorry, but my opinion's more relevant than yours. And you know, just things that I would be like, as a lesbian, like, you need to stop saying that like I'm privileged for like having a relationship, because like that doesn't exist for you know, lesbians. So like in academic spaces, not necessarily all the time, but some of the time. In online spaces, definitely a lot, because you know, there's all kinds of arguments just all the time happening on Leshbook. I've unfollowed so many of the groups because I'm just like, I can't even deal with it anymore. There's so many. Please stop. Please just no. I'm like, this is just not even good for me at this point, where I just like see people like spouting bad opinions, and I'm like, I need to no, I can't push it away. Don't think about it. Don't respond. Don't react. But when I'm sort of like in a situation like that, where I'm like talking to somebody, or you know, having a friendly discussion with somebody on Facebook, I definitely, like, that becomes sort of like a forefront, and it's a place that I'm coming from in a lot of situations where people are talking about oppression, about gender, about homophobia, because that's what most arguments on Leshbook are about. That's sort of like at the forefront of my identity, definitely. And then on other spaces like, you know, Tumblr, Twitter, that kind of thing, it's just sort of, it's something that's there, even if it's not necessarily something that is relevant to every sort of interaction that I have, but it's always, especially because in online spaces, there's always sort of this space where you have like the little biography. So that does become, if it's part of your biography, it becomes a part of discussion a lot of the time. And then with my friends, it definitely depends which friends that I'm with. Like a lot of the friends that I've made here have been straight women. So it's just kind of like, oh, like we'll talk about like my girlfriend when they talk about their boyfriends or anything, something like that. But it's not like necessarily something that's relevant to every single conversation that we have. Whereas with a lot of my friends who are lesbians, like we'll talk about, you know, Tegan and Sarah, like so stereotypical. Like we're going to that Hayley Kiyoko concert. Like, did you see the new episode of I can't think of like a good show that's been airing lately, but back when it was still good. Did you see the new Steven Universe episode? Like, you know, just like a lot of it centers around our identities and like things that sort of like make us happy and uplift us as
that
people.
sense of community in a way.
Like we'll definitely congregate around that, definitely. Just when I'm around other people, it's definitely, when I'm around other people for whom that is relevant, it becomes more relevant to me. Sure.
I don't know if I've ever had like an actual realization so much as I was just kind of like, oh, girls are so pretty. I really like girls. Like, girls are so much better than boys. God. And then like I was a Tumblr kid, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I fancy girls. And I was like, eh. And that was like my personal coming out. I was like, I like girls, cool. And then like when I came to uni, I was like, I really fucking like girls. So it kind of like hits me every so often. I'm like, oh, I really like girls. Like this is like really cliche. I was listening to Hayley Kiyoko on the train yesterday. And I was like, or on Thursday. And it was girls like girls. I was like, I want a girlfriend so bad.
Relatable.
So yeah, that was my, I don't know if I could actually pinpoint when it was. But
okay, so have you come out?
To all my friends, I've come out to my brother by accident because I couldn't resist making a gay joke. But my parents don't officially know.
Right.
But that's not because, it's not so much that I think they'd react badly. It's just that I kind of have always told them everything in my life on like a need-to-know basis. So if I had a girlfriend, I'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, I have a girlfriend, to let them make the connection. But in terms of like my friends and things, I have no qualms about being out to them.
And do you like always come out to someone like as you meet them, or does it like sort of come up in conversation?
If it comes up in conversation, I'll do it. Or if I feel like it's become relevant for them to know.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be like, hello, I'm Connie, I really fancy girls. But at the same time, like, if I hadn't really got to know them, or if it like came up in conversation, I'd be like, well, yeah, like as a bi girl, or as somebody who likes girls, or. But again, it's more like it's kind of on a need to know basis, but it's not because I have any hesitation about coming out.
Sure.
It's just like whether or not it's relevant to the conversation.
Yeah. So do you feel like it's sort of like you can't tell your parents, or like you want to, but it's sort of like a big thing?
It's kind of nice. It's more. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it. Well, it's more like, so I didn't tell them that I was going out with Ollie, for example, until like a neighbour said, I saw Constance holding hands with a boy. So like, I think I've just got it hardwired into me that like I don't tell my parents shit.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to, but just because I'm like, they'll figure it out, or it'll become relevant later.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'd probably approach my sexuality in the same way. Like, I wouldn't, if they brought it up, I wouldn't lie to them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, I also know that I'm lucky to have very like accepting parents and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think that probably clouds my judgment a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So have you like dealt with any issues in the build up to like accepting yourself, like experiences, having like attractions or feelings?
Like, when I was like probably 14 or 15 and I was like a Tumblr mo guy kid, I was like, oh yeah, I'm pan-romantic heterosexual. And then like, I kind of ID'd as that for a while, but not like openly.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I'm just bi. I am just bi. The split attraction model is bollocks to me. Like, I am just bi. So like, I think that was kind of the only issue I had with it. And then like, I guess I doubt myself, like, because obviously I'd never had a girlfriend, I've only ever had boyfriends.
Sure.
So I was like, I feel like a fake bi.
Yeah.
But then like, any sexual experiences I have with women, like, I'm like, no, I'm very into girls.
Yeah.
I really like girls.
Yeah.
I could happily see myself with a girlfriend, it's just that circumstance has led me not to have one.
Sure.
But I think it was more, in terms of accepting within myself, it was more like I was like, oh god, am I just doing this because I'm like, I want to be edgy and different?
Yeah.
And it took me several years of like self-acceptance to realise that like, yeah, I am, and that's fine, no matter who my partner is.
Yeah.
But
so do you ever sort of like feel like you experience biphobia at all? Or like
personally,
from other people, or is it just like in your head?
It was more like in my head. It was more like, you know, oh, I'm definitely like a fake bi because I don't have a girlfriend. And like at the time, obviously, when I was having all these conflictions, like I hadn't even had sex, let alone like with a girl.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my god, I'll never have a girlfriend and blah blah blah. But like, so I was like, oh, I'm just doing this to be like edgy, even though I definitely wasn't, because I had no intention of really coming out to people at that stage.
Yeah. It's all about self-doubt that you
exactly. Like, so it was more like internalised biphobia more than anything else. But I've never experienced like actual external biphobia from anyone. Every time I've come out, people are like, sweet.
Yeah.
So,
and have you like ever experienced anyone sort of being heteronormative that's like affected you in a big way, like little things, sort of like microaggressions?
Yeah, I guess there's been like
people assuming that you're straight.
Yeah, little things. You good? Can you come back? Yeah, so it's been like little things. So, nothing that bothers me. You know, people being like, because in the communities where I'd want to be accepted, it's never been any issue. You know, like every other LGBT person I've spoken to has been totally cool with, you know, I'm bi, I happen to be in a passing relationship. Yeah. And I understand and accept, obviously, part of being a cis woman with a cis man is that you will be read as straight. And it's like, that's not any form of oppression, that's just like, people go, oh, cool. And then if I tell them, actually, I'm bi, people either are too polite or genuinely don't care. Yeah. And they say, like, you know, oh, that's cool. Yeah. Type thing. Obviously, you get things, you know, like my parents being like, oh, so when are you going to find a nice boyfriend? Until I like had one. Or my grandma being like, oh, when are you going to give me grandkids? When are you going to get married to a nice husband? But like, I don't see that as any sort of like, oppression. I'm just like...
That's just like a thing that parents...
Exactly. And I know that obviously, again, I know that because I've not come out to them, I can't hold it against them for being heteronormative. Yeah. But, yeah, in the communities where I would expect not to experience it, I've never experienced it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, do you sort of have like a fixed identity, like being bisexual or liking women? Like, what does it mean to you?
God, that's deep.
I can like expand on like any sort of mini questions.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, so like, I think I personally put a lot of weight into my personal identity as, you know, like, oh, the cis thing doesn't, like, I don't see as part of my identity, that's probably because I'm cis, you know, I've never had to have any sort of conflict with my own personal gender. But like, obviously my bisexuality means a lot to me personally, but I understand that other people don't see it as a big part of my personality, if that makes sense. I think if I was a lot more open about it, and I was, you know, certainly I think if I was single or if I had a girlfriend and it was more almost like politicised, then other people probably see it as more of...
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think like, and part of it as well is recognising that I'm going to see it as more of an issue and more of like a thing than other people are.
Yeah. And do you think that's like heteronormativity or like just the way it is? Like...
I think it is heteronormativity, but I also think that because that is the status quo, people are gonna see it as, you know, and I think if it was different, people wouldn't necessarily assume. But at the same time, I think it's true that if you're not particularly vocal about your sexuality, like I'm not massively vocal about mine, I think if you're not vocal, people will just kind of assume it's not an enormous part of who you are and who they perceive you to be.
Yeah, sure.
So like, even if I was a lesbian, I mean, I'm sure if I was a lesbian, people would see that probably more as part of my identity, but if... Like, I think if I was a lesbian and I was just single and I had expressed no interest in finding a girlfriend and I was all that, then I'm sure there'd be a degree of heteronormativity in terms of, oh, you know, she's probably straight and just hasn't found the right man yet.
Yeah.
But again, if people were more accepting, I think, or if it wasn't such like a thing for people to just assume straightness, I think it would be, people go, oh, this is Connie, she has XYZ characteristics that I either like or dislike, and she's a lesbian. That'd be like secondary. Yeah. Just because if you don't talk about something, in my experience, people don't associate you with it as much.
Sure.
But that might just be obviously because I'm speaking from a point of relative privilege, so I might be totally wrong. And I do understand, obviously, my experience will not speak for anyone else.
Yeah,
but
of course. Well, that's like the beauty of it, really. Like,
exactly.
Everyone has like a different experience in this sort of identity, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I had like another question like on the top of my head, but I can't think. Oh yeah, like do you ever feel like, because you're not out to your parents, that your sexuality is sort of like a facet, or like you have like different selves around different people? So like with your friends you are out with, you're more like vocal about it. But with your parents, like, do you feel like it's another sort of version of yourself, or like
I wouldn't say it's another version of myself,
you sort of like repress a little bit? Maybe
it is definitely something that I like make a point not to bring up. Type thing. So like, if I saw like a really pretty, I just say we're watching TV and there's a really pretty girl on the tab, like, oh my god, she's gorgeous. But I wouldn't ever be like, I want her to murder me with her magic vagina, like I would with any of my friends that I'm out to. But like, I think that's just, I think everyone manipulates their speech patterns when they're talking to different people, and I think everyone will tone down some part of who they are when talking to parents, relatives, whatever. So I don't think I do it because I don't want them to know. I think it's that I do it because it's just not how I talk to people of their generation. Even like, I mean, they've got family friends who are gay and they've been married since, well, they've been together for about 30 odd years. They got a civil partnership when that became legal, and they kind of have tentative plans to maybe get married, but they don't really need to because they've got a civil partnership. And like, I would never dream of being like, you know, I want her to sit on my face to them. I could not imagine saying that. But yeah, so I think it's more just like a tone thing. Rather than like because I wouldn't make the same kind of jokes about men either. It just seems wildly inappropriate to talk about anything sexual with anyone over the age of like 30. So I'm just there like, you know, absolutely not. But yeah, so I think it is just, it's the sexual aspect rather than...
Sure.
Yeah.
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 Okay. And do you feel like identifying like in a certain way as bisexual gives you a certain like autonomy or like a sense of community to other people?
think so, yeah.
Then you're within
me...
people who are LGBT.
Yeah, it certainly gives me a sense of community with like people who are LGBT. Like, you know that meme that it's like same hat? Like every time I see somebody who's like either is like, you know, visibly out or is talking about, you know, their experiences being LGBT and stuff, I'm like, same hat! But like, yeah, so it's really, really nice in that respect. I don't feel like it alienates me from like straight people per se.
Yeah.
But I do think it gives me a sense of community.
Sure.
In that respect.
Yeah.
Of being, you know, like, oh, I can't necessarily totally identify with straight people.
Yeah. You're sort of like, oh, straight people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know. Like when all our straight female friends talk about how much they want a boyfriend, and I'm like, oh,
I know.
get a girlfriend. But like, I'm just like, it's like, oh, I just don't know how you can find like girls trying to like. That doesn't compute. I cannot relate to that in any way, shape, or form. Like, girls.
Like, I always used to think, like, everyone was bisexual, like, all of my female friends. So, like, I never thought I was, like, any different for liking girls. And then everyone was like, oh, 100%. Yeah, like, you know, if I wish I was a lesbian because men are shit. And it's like, what? Like, I don't understand.
You understand you have options? And then I'm just not attracted to girls. I'm like, how? Why? But like, yeah, no, it took me ages to realise that like, because obviously there's it's been so normalised, you know, like gal pals and things like that. I was just like, oh yeah, this is normal, every girl feels like this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then it's like, actually no, other girls are not sexually not every girl is sexually interested in other girls.
Unfortunately.
Like, I know. But yeah, so I was like, yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay, I don't have any more questions. No, if there's anything else you want to expand on,
I don't know. I think I've kind of rambled. Good luck on picking useful data from that. But yeah, girls are amazing and I'm really glad I'm bi, is the takeaway from this.
Cool. When did you first realise that you were bisexual?
So I think I was about 16 or 17 at the time, and I was friends with like a gay couple, but both of them were bisexual. So then I think that like sort of made me realise, like it just sort of like took me out of my barriers a bit, like made me realise that there were there were other ways to experience life, you know what I mean? Like something a bit different from what like everything in society is pushing on you.
So does that sort of like make you realise in a way?
Yeah.
Or like
I mean,
always
like,
sort of knew that sort of like prompted you to like accept it?
I think like for a long time, because I just hated like all the boys where I was from anyway, which is just like a natural part. But I think like it made me realise that wasn't like I had feelings for girls as well as boys. Like it was, I think I just hadn't like thought about sexuality a lot before that, because I was like, I wouldn't want to date anyone from like around here. Like everyone that I knew was just like a dickhead. So I was like, I wanted to like, but yeah, it made me like think about sexuality a bit more. I think so. I think that's when I realised.
Yeah. And did you come out at all to like your parents at all?
So I've never properly come out to my parents, but I just like, because they're pretty liberal, like laid back anyway, so I always just sort of say things in conversation, and then that's like enough for them to know that.
Sure.
Yeah, like they do know, but we've never I've never like outright said it.
So you know that they know, but like you don't explicitly talk about it?
Yeah, exactly. Like but we'll say things like my dad will like mention, or like I'll mention someone and he'll be like, oh you're dating them, and like do the same thing with like a boy and a girl, like in exactly the same way. Yeah,
that's really nice.
But I've never like sat them down and been like, listen up.
I feel like it's like really like daunting, like the thought of doing that. It just seems like easier to like sort of like show them, I guess, like, or just sort of like say like subtle things.
Just make it like a natural part of like who you are. Rather
than, exactly. And like, what about like other family members, like friends and stuff? Like, are you pretty like open?
Yeah, I am. So when I first came out to my best friends at the time, it was literally like, it was because I was having an argument with this guy because he was being really homophobic in this like pub. and I was just like, I just got really annoyed at him, and I was like, right, I'm bisexual, and then my friend was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And then when I came out at work, like, I came out at work sort of more properly. It's the only place I've ever like really like like actually told people. And I told like one girl, and then I was like, don't mind who you tell, and then she told this girl who was like a massive gossip, and then everyone knew. But it was quite nice because everyone would like come to me and be like, oh, like tell me and stuff. And then this other girl ended up coming out as bisexual.
Oh really?
Yeah. And she was like she always came to me for like, she was like, how do I, because she was like a lot older, she was in her 30s, so she was like, how do I like I don't know what to call myself, I don't know like how to frame myself and stuff. So yeah, I think I was like the first person to come out at work, but
that's really cool.
Nice. Yeah, and then another guy came out just after me as well. So
so you like started like
started a trend.
a wave. You gave the people like the confidence. So like, did you deal, or are you dealing with, or have you dealt with like any issues like with coming out, or like?
Well, I think like that first guy, when I came out to my friends, like that guy was like, I can't remember, he did the classic thing where he was like, oh, do you want to have a threesome with me and my girlfriend? Yeah. And I just like walked away from him, and then the next week I ended up like throwing a bin at him.
That's always best to do a bit.
No, but all my friends are pretty chill about it, to be fair. The people who were least chill about it were that couple that I was talking about. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, because they were more like, you need to like come out everywhere, you need to tell everyone, you need to like make a big deal out of it. And I was like, I really don't want to. Like, it's not like, it's not a big thing for me. It's not like, I didn't want to make a huge deal out of it. And they were like, oh, you should be proud of who you are. And I was like, I am, I just don't want to like like being proud doesn't necessarily correlate with making a huge deal out of it.
Sure. But do you still like feel like a sense of identity based on that, or like? Yeah,
I definitely do, and I think like, I don't know, I suppose it's probably like a little bit wrong, but I always feel like I can talk more freely on subjects of like LGBT issues, because then if anyone like disagrees with me, I can be like, well, I'm part of the community, which isn't like, it's probably not the right way to go about it, but I know that a lot of people like sort of like don't mind if you're talking from like personal experience, then they tend to just like let you speak more freely, I think. Yeah.
So do you sort of like feel a sense of community, like belonging?
Yeah, I suppose so, like not to any massive extent. I think you always get that thing like when you meet other people who are bisexual and you're like, oh, bisexual. But no, other than that, like, I don't know, I've never like made friends with people purely on that basis, or like treated as a community, but I think that you do get like a little bit of that from it just naturally.
Yeah, sure. And like, have you ever sort of dealt with like heteronormativity in any situations that sort of like annoyed you, like maybe like a microaggression, but you're sort of like, oh, like, do you mind?
Yeah, I think my cousins used to be quite bad for that, and that's again like how I came out to both of my cousins. I used to be quite close to them, and they would like, I think one of my cousins was just like said something like, oh, when like it was doing the thing where it was like, oh, when you get married, like whatever the guy you're getting married to, like I'm gonna like I'll have a like talk with him, make sure that he never hurts you and stuff. And I was like, and just little things like that where people like, I suppose it's tied in with like masculinity, and like it's often that like people trying to be nice but being like, oh, protect you from like nasty guys, and it's like
it's also like sexism just generally, like,
well,
it's sort of like linked to being heterosexual, like it's sort of like assumed in a way.
And I think as well, because I have a lot of male friends, people go like, oh, are you with that person? Like, no, just my friend.
I don't know if I have any more questions, just like, I don't know, like, do you feel like, I know you sort of said before, like, it's like just a part of yourself, but like, do you ever feel like if you have any difficulties like coming out to your parents, like you're sort of a different person around them because of that, or like? Yeah,
I think sometimes like because I quite openly call myself bisexual, but I think when I'm around them, I won't say it, so I think that is sometimes like a little bit difficult. Like I'll just like, I don't know, because I'll say happily that I would like date girls and stuff, but just I won't use that word in front of my parents, which is because I know they'd be absolutely fine with it. It's just like a strange like.
Just like a barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Yeah, I don't think I have any more questions, but like, unless you have any other things you want to talk about in relation to that.
I was going to say something, I can't remember what. What was the last question? Like, just before you asked that one.
Like having multiple selves, like...
Oh, wait, no, I was going to, about the heteronormativity thing. Like,
yeah.
So, one of my friends, one of my male friends, his mum was like, oh, I bet like you two are going to end up in a relationship, and he ended up having to tell his mum that I was gay, like that I was a lesbian in order to stop her like saying it, because she was just like wouldn't let her for like an entire month. She was just like, oh, you and Sarah are going to end up together, and he was like, well, literally not, leave me alone. Yeah,
and that's it.